Hey there, good morning. My name is Duncan Drewry. I'm a graduate of the class of 2021. I was a double major in Spanish and cognitive science, was the decision track within cognitive science and graduated with high honors. Additionally, I also did the Ross Capo sales track as well as the entrepreneurship minor. And today I'm going to answer some questions about my experiences at Michigan and beyond. Decisions are the foundations to everything we do in life. They're vital to understanding how we go about making decisions and help us be aware of certain factors that may or may not be present in the decision-making process. One of these are intrinsic biases and heuristics and understanding how the brain actually processes information in order to make any kind of given decision. Now, I did my honors thesis on the effect of uncertainty on competitive behavior. When the outcomes of a situation are unknown, do people tend to compete or cooperate more often than not? And there actually are certain factors that can influence that. And so kind of having that basic foundation of psychology, philosophy, business knowledge, has really given me a strong core and a leg up on my competition when it comes to data center sales at Dell. On a day-to-day basis, I'm talking to IT directors, to CIOs, and really trying to figure out what are their pain points, what are areas that they're having issues in, that we can help improve those efficiencies, not only for their time in the data center, but also for their budget for the CFOs as well. So that's one area that CogSci has really shaped how I formulate and think about issues and problems for IT departments in my current role at Dell.
Can you share any specific skills or knowledge you acquired during your time studying cognitive science that has been particularly helpful in your current profession?
Cognitive science translates fantastically to a job in the tech industry and specifically tech sales. I think understanding human behavior in a variety of different contexts and at a variety of different levels is very impactful, especially when it comes to things along the lines of artificial intelligence, machine learning, human-computer interaction, things like that, that we definitely touch on in the cognitive science major. I think that as we enter into the data decade, which is going to be the dramatic escalation of the amount of data that's collected and stored all over the world. There's going to be a lot of processes and a lot of factors, and companies come along that try and solve a lot of those issues that come with big data. Now, I think that having a basis and understanding of how human behavior works, what kind of biases we have, heuristics, things like that, and having that baseline in psychology, but also being able to apply that to a bunch of different disciplines, a bunch of different majors, and being able to be that voice in the room can give you a great leg up on your peers and your competition as well. So that's one area that I've found that cognitive science majors can really have an impact in the tech business.
How did the interdisciplinary nature of cognitive science at the University of Michigan influence your understanding and perspective on various issues in your field of work?
Cognitive science is like the Swiss Army knife of a major. Just alone in the decision track, I was able to take classes from psychology, philosophy, business marketing, all a bunch of different disciplines, and be able to go super deep, up to the 400 levels in all of those as well. I think that not only pigeonholing yourself into a single major allows you to be able to see how different disciplines approach a given issue. For example, when it comes to human behavior, a psych class might talk about a certain issue one way, based on some of the biological factors and just historic psychology research that goes into it. It might look very different in a philosophy class where you're worried about the ethics or what's morally right, things like that. And I think that having that baseline and that breadth of knowledge and disciplines can really hone you into a very well-rounded individual and can then be able to apply that to the real world. I'd say that in my experiences moving outside of Michigan and facing real-world challenges, it's very vital to have that kind of a knowledge and that ability to think critically about tough issues from a variety of different perspectives. I think that having that kind of emotional intelligence is something that's foundational and that cognitive science really helps you build.
Are there any experiences, such as research opportunities, internships, or extracurricular activities during your time at the University of Michigan that you believe have significantly contributed to your success after graduation?
Yes, I think that there are three main ones, at least for me, that had a big impact on my success after graduation. Number one being my honors thesis. During my senior year at the University of Michigan, I started a self-directed research project based on the effect of uncertainty on competitive behavior. I ended up running 2 studies through a psych lab. It was all my own research, directed how to do the whole thing, collected the data, analyzed the data, did all the write-ups, did all the background research. I was able to see it through to submission in the spring of 2021 to CogSci, which was fantastic, but I wanted more. I wanted to go one level deeper and actually stayed on through the lab throughout that summer and then through that fall as well to get it published eventually in the American Journal for Undergraduate Research. I think that was a really big step for me to challenge myself to do something that I'd never done before, to learn on the fly, and to be able to really build up a lot of grit and a lot of tolerance for projects that take a long time. And that served me well definitely throughout my sales career, as the first role at Dell that I worked at was a cold calling role, 80 dials a day, 100 emails a week. You're expected to hit 5 qualified appointments every single week until basically you get the nod to be promoted to a inside data center sales executive. And so having that experience through my honors thesis, I knew that I could, hold myself to a high standard and do work day in and day out. That's crucial to success there. So that was one area that I found success in. Other one is study abroad. Studying abroad is one of the best experience I ever did throughout my career at Michigan. And thankfully the cognitive science track allows you the flexibility to go abroad. And I was able to get a psych class, I believe, get it transferred for one of my just general requirements for CogSci. Studying abroad challenged the way that I think about the world culturally. I think that we're all brought up in our own version of given bubbles. I know that I certainly felt that way when I moved originally from California to Michigan, but then you get at a whole different level when you move outside of the United States, and it really challenges the way you think about the world. And so I did that actually during the COVID semester, spring of 2020, and a lot of that as well, gave me a taste of what that was like, and I wanted the full experience. So I was able to seek out an experience through the Spanish Ministry of Education, called NALCAP Auxiliares, where I was an English language assistant at an elementary school in a rural mountain town outside of Bilbao, Spain, for the year following my graduation. So that was a fantastic experience, built up a lot of tolerance for the unknown, and definitely has helped me in my career in sales as well. And thirdly, probably more obviously, is the Ross Capo sales track and the entrepreneurship minor as well. I think that giving those areas, a taste at Michigan, not being a business major or anything like that, being a CogSci major, being a liberal arts student, again, having that ability to speak to business challenges and to think, and kind of see how business professionals face certain challenges and how they solve those problems, I think was crucial for me in my transition and just easing that transition into a tech sales role. So those are 3 areas: honors thesis, study abroad, sales track, and entrepreneurship minor, that all were really crucial to me in my development.
Having walked the path from being a student to a professional, what advice would you give to current cognitive science students at the University of Michigan to best prepare for the future?
When I was applying to college, my mom gave me this book, and I totally forget the name of the book, but one of the mantras throughout the whole thing was be alike and spike, right? You want to have the grades, you want to have the major, you want to have a good school on your resume, like the University of Michigan, but you also want to do things that others wouldn't. You want to be able to go the extra mile in whatever music you're producing, or whatever honors thesis that you're working on, things like that. And you want to demonstrate an ability to seek out stuff that you're interested in and hit certain milestones and metrics to be able to do that. At least that was my experience coming to a sales role. You want to have the grades, you want to have the degree, but you also want to go above and beyond what you're passionate about to give yourself concrete examples to point to in a job interview, in a cover letter, in a resume. Any interviewer is going to ask you, what are some areas that you're successful in or that you're proud of? What are some times that you failed? Things like that. And having concrete examples of times and experiences that you've had throughout undergrad to point to and say, hey, I did this here, I did this here. really will set you apart from the rest and make your resume rise to the top, make you stand out in job. With that, thank you for the time, and go Blue.